Hello, everyone.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Hi. How are you guys today? Thank you so much for joining Raul and I in this meeting. We hope that is going to be really helpful for your tutoring sessions. So if you guys don't know me, but I think that I know all of you, my name is Alexandra and I'm responsible for curriculum and training at LCMC. So thank you so much for being with us today.
And likewise, I welcome you to our Zoom workshop. I hope this will be both a fun and informative Zoom training for you, that you leave with a good, not a good bag of goodies, but more knowledge of how to run Zoom. And like many of you, I wish we could go back to in-person collaboration and meetings and everything. Before COVID, I would be the one to welcome our volunteers and explain who we are and what we do. And now we have to just train you this way. So COVID has changed what we do, but it hasn't changed our mission, which is to continue to serve our students. And if you're just joining us, welcome. And I hope that you'll learn something new or something you didn't know before. And please let us know if you have questions in the chat box, or you can raise your hand or just unmute and ask away.
So before we begin, Raul, we would like to ask all of you if you could please mute your microphone. So if you have a question, please just unmute your microphone, but this way we will not get feedback. And also we would like to let you know that we are recording this meeting because we will upload this video in Schoology so you guys can go back to watch it, okay? So if you are confused about something, you can watch the video. So it is in Schoology, okay? So thank you so much. And Raul, all yours.
All right, so before I begin, one quick question that I'd like to ask you, if you could each raise your hand if this applies to you. Do you all have the Zoom app installed on your device?
I think I do.
Most of you do, very good. That is always my go-to in terms of Zoom meetings, both creating them, joining them, whatever it is. It's just easier and faster for me to access Zoom through the app, especially if you're somebody who uses a lot of internet tabs. I'm guilty of that. It can be difficult for you to access and create Zooms through the website, which you can still do. There's no problem there. But I always recommend the Zoom app to not just locate your Zoom meetings, but also if you'd like to create one on the fly, or if you'd like to join one, you can go through that. But as far as creating a meeting, I'm going to walk you through that process. And again, if you have any questions, please let us know in the chat box, or you can just unmute your mic and we'll help you that way. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
So what we want to do when we create a Zoom meeting is we want to go to, you see this tab here where it says schedule a meeting? We want to go here first, and we want to give our Zoom meeting a name. I'm just going to call this my tutoring sessions. Okay. And once you give it a name, so this is very helpful for me in order to locate where my meetings are. Instead of just trying to find them by meeting ID, I always try to come up with a nice, easy Zoom meeting name that I can remember. Then we're gonna give it a date. Let's just say tomorrow. Now, of course, if you have a Zoom meeting with one student, you have an unlimited number of hours, then you can meet with them. 24 hours, I believe, is what you have. Once it's 3 people or more, then you're gonna get cut off at a 40-minute mark. That doesn't mean that you can't continue to meet with them more time. It just means if you are gonna meet with them more time, you would have to end that meeting and then reconnect. Does that make sense? And that way, you avoid having to use a more advanced Zoom account to have this unlimited amount of time for your meeting. I'm just gonna leave this here at 6:00 p.m., 1 hour duration, Eastern Standard Time, of course. This is very important in order for you to not have to recreate Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting. You wanna click on this recurring meeting option. And what that will do is it will give you these options about how often do you want to schedule your meetings. In this case, if I'm a one-on-one tutor, for example, and I want to meet with my student every week, then you're going to give this a weekly recurrence. I do want it to repeat every week. And then it allows you to choose, you know, on what particular date does your Zoom meeting occur. I'm just going to leave it on Fridays. And then you have the option of choosing a specific date, or you can change the settings so that it ends on a particular number. In this case, and because this is just an example, I'm going to leave the date here by March 5th, 2021. And then registration, this would only be useful to you if, like LCMC, we have to keep track of how many students attend our classes or workshops. So we do require them to register for a Zoom meeting. So that would be something for that. As far as tutoring, this is not an option that would normally apply to anybody. As far as Zoom security, Zoom does require you to either establish a passcode or a waiting room. If you know your students and they're not very tech savvy, sometimes the easiest option to go with is to just create a waiting room. That way they don't have to do an extra step by typing a passcode before they join your Zoom meeting. They would just have to wait for you to start the Zoom meeting and accept them as they try to log in. So you are open to use either option. I usually just go with both because sometimes you could be trying to have a pre-meeting meeting with anybody who's hosting with you. So you don't always, maybe you're not always ready to allow a student to come in. If you want to have a pre-meeting meeting, if you have both of these functions on, you can still let them into the Zoom meeting, but they're going to be in the waiting room. And as they're in the waiting room and they come in, you do have the ability to message them while they're in the wait room and say, you know, thanks for joining. We'll get started in just a few minutes. So that is the advantage of having both passcode and waiting. As far as video and audio, I always leave these functions off because as soon as you join the meeting, you can always turn them on. As far as audio, same thing. People could be connecting on a number of devices. So I always leave these functions off here, but here we want to do it with both. In the event that somebody cannot connect with the normal, you know, tablet or laptop, they can always call in. So that's a good benefit for that. This would be your preference. If you want somebody to join the Zoom meeting before you, you can click that feature here. But if you would rather be, if you're the host and you'd rather start the meeting first, then you want to leave it unclicked. But of course, to avoid any unnecessary background noise or feedback, you do want to mute participants as soon as they enter. the automatically record meeting function, if you want to keep the meeting for your records and you could easily forget to record your meetings, it would be a good idea to click this option here. But then again, you also want to think about your storage space, because when you record meetings, you can either record them to the cloud or you can record them to your local device. I believe if you record it to the Zoom cloud, there is going to be a certain limit that you reach in terms of storage space. So when that happens, you do have to record them to your local hard drive. The difference between the two is that if you record a meeting on the Zoom cloud, there will be a passcode attached to that video once you start to share it with other folks. Versus if you record the Zoom meeting to your local hard drive, then you would just need to download it in order to see it. And then in this, for this option, if for any reason you have to leave the meeting or maybe you can't start the meeting right away, you can assign an alternative host and this person can both start and finish the meeting for you in case you are unable to do so. So let me stop right here for now if there are any questions so far. Got it? Good? Okay.
It seems like we don't have, oh, Lavon, do you have a question?
No, I'm trying to figure out how to get on. I'm sorry. I'm getting there. I'm listening now. I just got my audio on.
Okay.
I have a question,
Yes.
Anne.
Yeah.
Please, yes, Anne.
If you're just tutoring with one student and at one session, you want to include an additional person just for that one session, what do you do?
So you have your one-on-one student, but you want to have an additional participant?
Yeah, like say you wanted to get your coordinator in to talk to the student.
Okay. So that would be 3 people in the meeting. So what will happen is you will get, your meeting will get cut off at 40 minutes. But because there isn't the only expiration, so to speak, to your Zoom meeting is the date that you assign the recurring meeting to finish. So if you only create, you know, that if you recreate a recurring meeting up until, you know, tomorrow, for example, then there's the, and you create, so that's up to, that's the validity that that Zoom link has up to that date. But if you want to go back and start using that same meeting, you can always do that. But the only problem would be that if 3 people join, then you're gonna get cut off at 40 minutes. And so maybe 2 minutes before you could say, okay, we're coming up on 40 minutes. Let's take a quick break. You end the meeting, but then you start it over and then you can start a whole nother 40 minutes. And
so if you want to have that other person and they're not on this repetitive meeting, do you send them a separate invitation just for that one time? Is that how you include them?
I'm going to get to the how to send the invites now.
Okay.
You can send them the same invitation as you would to your student.
Excuse me, I have one question. I was a couple minutes late, so I don't know if you've covered this. I have a paid Zoom account, so I didn't know if it's, we're supposed to use a personal Zoom account or we're supposed to go through the LCMC when we get a student.
So when it comes to one-on-one tutoring, you would have to use your own personal Zoom account.
Okay.
But if you're a lead chats facilitator, then you can use our standard LCMC account. The only difference being LCMC account. And if you're using your personal one, as long as you're tutoring one student, you do have 24 hours of meeting time to do. But like I said to Anne, if you wanted to include, maybe for this tutoring session, you tutored 2 students. You can tutor them for up to 40 minutes. Zoom will kick you off, but it doesn't mean that you can't restart the meeting. So
okay, I have a paid account, so I know there's a 40-minute limit on the free account, but I guess with a paid account, they probably wouldn't do that, right?
No.
Okay.
Just 24 hours.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions before I get into scheduling and inviting?
Do you go back into the meeting if you get kicked out with the same invitation?
Yes. So
okay.
The meeting will end, the participants will get kicked off, but as long as they've got the link, they can, and you start the meeting, they can always reconnect.
Okay, thank you.
In this case, you're welcome. I'm just going to assign Alexandra as a co-host. And again, this just means if I'm the original creator of this meeting, but for some reason, I'm not going to be able to start the meeting. If I assign Alexandra as an alternative host, then she does have that ability. Okay. So I'm going to click save. Now comes the invitation part. If like me, if you're going to a lot of Zoom meetings throughout the week, sometimes it can be a little confusing to surf through your inbox to find that meeting ID. So what we do is we sync a Zoom meeting with, if you have a Gmail account, then you can sync it with your Gmail account calendar. So I'm going to click on Google Calendar here. It's going to ask me to choose my account. I'm going to click on allow. And so now that takes me to this screen. And when it comes to sending a Zoom invitation, there's 2 ways that we can do it. Either you get a calendar invite or you get the standard email invitation that looks a lot like this screen here. Okay. And sometimes it's a little hard to find the Zoom link because it's hidden between all of this text. Versus if I send a calendar invite, you're going to see, you're going to get a yes or a no email invitation in your inbox. So for example, I'm going to email Alexandra. So once you're ready to send a calendar invitation to somebody, you want to click on the save button. And I click on the save button. And because this is a recurring meeting, you want to make sure that you click on all events because that allows you to have a calendar invite for every Zoom meeting. If you just click on this event, then that's just going to be the invitation to that first meeting. But because it's a recurring meeting, I'm going to click on all events and I'm going to click on OK. And then it's going to ask me one more question and it says, would you like to send this invitation email as a Google Calendar? And I'm going to click send. And so now here's my Google Calendar. If you have accepted the Zoom invitation, you're going to see the event in your calendar as this kind of royal blue. I guess you could call this shade of blue. You're going to see this royal blue color. If you haven't accepted the invitation, you'll see a white square. But even if you don't accept it, it's still, because I sent you a calendar invite, it's still going to be attached to your calendar. Make sense?
And let me intervene here, Raul, so I can show you that you guys saw Raul added me to that invite. So I received in my email 2 emails. The first one, I have 1 email from Zoom, which is, I don't know, can you guys see too much light here? It's too bright, right?
Yeah, it's too bright there. I think you have to get it a little closer.
Yeah. Is it better? No, why is it? Okay, now. So you guys can see two emails there. So the first one that it says Zoom is when Raul created the invite, the meeting in Zoom. Okay, so if I click in that one, I get a link on the bottom that it says start meeting. So by clicking start meeting, I can be part of the meeting. But then I will have to go back to that email all the time. I need to find that email to click there in the start meeting button. But if I click on the second one that Raul added me as a calendar invite, so the second email that I received, I click there, and then this is the calendar invite. When I say yes to that calendar invite, in my calendar, I'm going to have the invite all the time, the day I have the meeting with Raul. So I don't have to go and find that email that Raul sent me from Zoom. Instead, I go to my calendar and I have the link there for every session, okay, which is easier.
And that way, she doesn't have to go through her email inbox to find the meeting ID. She can click on any of these calendar events, like this is a Zoom meeting I have here. I can click on this event and I have my meeting ID right here. Okay. One thing to note is that you'll notice that in a calendar invite, a lot of Zoom invitations will have this join with Google Meet button. Don't click that button, because what will happen is you will be taken to a Google Meet meeting room and there will be nobody there. I don't know why this is incorporated into a Zoom invitation creation, but it will not help you to join the Zoom meeting if you click on that join with Google Meet button. You always want to make sure you click on the actual Zoom link. And you'll always find that it's blue and underlined.
I believe, Raul, that is there because you are sharing that invite through Google Calendar. So then Google Calendar by default has that option there, the Google Meet option.
Okay. So that's one way you can send a Zoom invitation. But the other way is if I don't want to send a Google now I have so many tabs open, I don't know where I am anymore. Where am I? Okay. All right. So we go back to Google Calendar. And this time, if I don't want, or in addition to a Google Calendar, if I want to send the standard email invitation, then I'll write another email here. Well, let's just keep Alexandra as the example. If I want to send Alexandra the standard email invitation, then I'll just click on the envelope here. And you can include a message with the invitation. And you can send a copy to yourself so that you know that the message was delivered. And so I'll click send. And now Alexandra should receive a different type of invitation. If you want to share it, Alexandra, what it looks like on your phone.
So I did, and I received an email from Raul's email. Okay, so if I click there, I have all of the information for the meeting. Okay, so then I can click in the link, the Zoom link, to join the meeting. Okay. It's
a lot more scrolling to do, but it's still another form of invitation that you can set. Now, another thing that comes up a lot is my student, this would be nice and practical if your student has a computer as well, but some of your students don't have a computer or a tablet, and so maybe they need access to your Zoom account through WhatsApp or a text message. Then in that case, you don't want to send them a calendar invite or an email invite. It would just be enough for you to message them the Zoom link and passcode if you've established your meeting with the passcode, or if it's just the waiting room, then you can just share the Zoom link through WhatsApp or a text message. And all they would have to do is click on that link to join the meeting. Any questions about these first two parts?
If you don't have a Google account, do you have to have a Google account in order to send the email version?
No.
No.
So that would just be if you want to email the invitation. So it's not a requirement.
Okay.
Sometimes I get email with invitations that include an opportunity to use a Yahoo calendar since I don't have a Google one. And then that'll, is there any way we can offer people more options than what you just did?
As far as calendar, you can sync it with Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook.
Okay.
Then there's also, and I think it also recognizes whatever your default email account is.
Okay, thank you. I don't
any
take a rabbit hole too much, but thank you. Saves a lot of time.
Sure. Any other questions on this part of Zoom? So far, so good? Okay. Alexander will get into a little bit of the more within Zoom features, and then we'll talk a little bit about sharing screen, breakout rooms, managing participants, etc.
All right, so now that you have created your meeting, your tutoring session, you have sent the invite to your student, it is time for you to get together and have the session. So you are in the session and you are like, we are here right now, you are presenting and your student is listening, but you want to share something with your student. So we know that some of you are still using the hard copy from Ventures, right? If you already moved to the ebook, so that's much better and it will be much easier to share with your student, because through using Zoom, you can share your screen with your student so your student can see the information you have on your screen, okay? So I'm going to show you right now how you are going to do that. So I am going to share my screen with you and I'm going to show you this slide that I created. So what you are seeing right now, it is, this is the screen that you will see when you are in Zoom. So when I created this slide, I was by myself in Zoom. So I didn't have participants to show here like all these different like boxes with your pictures like you are seeing right now, okay? So when you are in the meeting with your student, you will see in one box, you will see your picture, and then on the other box, you will see your student's face or faces if you have more than one student. So then on the bottom, you have this toolbar, okay? And then you have this button that is called share screen. So when you click in share screen, you click there, share screen, you are going to get now this box, okay? This box is asking you, what is what you want to share? So we recommend that you always click or select screen, because when you select screen, you will be able to share with your student anything or any window that you have opened in your computer. If you only select one of these tabs, so when you click share screen and then you get this box here, this box is going to show you the different windows that you have open on your computer. So at the moment I took the screenshot, I had this Google presentation. I had this tool that I use, a snipping tool that I recommend that you guys use like for screenshots to take like pictures of something like specific. And then I had the Zoom meeting. So that's what is showing me this. So if let's say here you have a YouTube page, okay? You have opened a YouTube page, it will show you here YouTube. If you only select that window with YouTube, but then you want to share with your student the book, you will not be able to do that. Why? Because you selected to share only the YouTube window. This is why it's important, or it's very good that you always select screen, because when you select screen, you will be able to share anything that you have in your computer, okay? So you select screen, and also you can click here. If you are going to share with your student your book, the ebook, you know that the ebook has the QR code with the audio and also the QR code to watch a video. So make sure you also check mark this option, share computer sound, okay? That way your student will be able to hear the audio from the computer, not just your microphone. So, okay, I click screen and I click share computer sound, and always please make sure to click here where it says share. If you don't click here, you are going to think that you are sharing your screen, but you are not, okay? So you always need to click share. So select screen, what you want to share, check mark, share computer sound, and also share. So when you do that, you are going to be able to do what I am doing right now with you, which is sharing my screen, okay? So I am going to share with you the book, okay? I'm going to share the book so you can see what you can do. So if you guys have now you can see my desktop, and now here, this icon that you see is Ventures 4, level 4. So this is how, like when you download the book in your computer, this is what you get. You get this blue box, the square here on your desktop, and this is the book. So I double click there. And here I have the book, okay? So because when I remember that I said check mark the shared computer sound, I didn't do it because that was a screenshot, that was a picture. So right now I don't have that option. So I am going to go here to this menu. I don't know if you can see that. Raul, can you see that? I don't think so.
Say it again, Alexandra.
Can you see right now that I'm sharing the control bar on the top? Can you see the menu that is open? No, so I will show you that in a little bit. But so let me do something here. So this is the book, okay? And you have the QR codes here. When you double click in the QR codes, you get, this is for the video. You can play the video.
Subject, pattern, adjective clauses.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So then, and you also get the
Unit
video.
7 sounds. Use who with people, which with things, that with people or things.
Okay, so you have that video that explains the grammar that you can share with your student, and also the student will listen, will hear the explanation, okay? But we also have the QR code that only plays the audio from the activity. So when we click here.
Page 86, exercise 2A. 1.
I want to buy a camera which is not too expensive.
You can also play the audio, okay? So remember, you will, like I go back to my screen. So you click in the option, share screen. Then you select screen, so you are able to share. Did you see how I just could move from one window, and then I went from my presentation, the slide, and then I went to the book because I selected screen. If I had not selected screen, I couldn't have done that because it was not going to allow me to play like with all these windows, okay? So click screen, click share computer sound and click share. And when you are done, like you don't want to share your screen anymore, you want to see your student again and just you guys talking, then you click in the option here on top that it says stop share. So when you click stop share, I'm going to do it in my computer. Now I stopped sharing my screen, okay? And then you can go back and talk to your student and then, okay, let me share my screen again, and you do it again, okay? So let me share my screen again because I'm going to show you what I was asking if you could see, which is this. So remember that I said, when you share the screen, you get that box and then it says like share computer sound, but because it was a picture, I could not do it. So then you have this other option, like you are already sharing your screen, move your mouse, and then you are going to get this toolbar on top. And then you have these 3 dots and it says more. So click there and then you get this menu and then it says share computer sound, okay? So you click there and then you are sharing the sound from the computer, not just the microphone with your voice. Okay, so don't worry if like you started sharing and then you didn't click that option, like check mark that option, that computer sound. Don't worry, you can do it here while you are sharing. So remember, click like these 3 dots, you get the menu, share computer sound, and now your student can hear any video that you play on your computer or any audio that you play in your computer. Okay, so let me stop sharing. And then what question do you guys have about sharing screen, sharing the audio, sharing video?
I just have a question about, so when because I haven't had a student yet. So when I have a student, I know they'll have access to their own book. But for the class, it's basically I'm teaching through the book access that I have, and then they can do homework off screen, you know, on their own or that sort of thing.
Yeah, so when like, and I need to clarify this because I in this meeting right now, we have some of our teaching assistants for one of our new programs, which is the small online groups. And then they are not using like this ventures curriculum. They are using the curriculum that we have developed, okay? Which is, so when we talk about books, it is not this that I just showed, okay? So please like keep that in mind that we have like 2 different curricula that is being shared with our ESL students. So if we are talking about ventures curriculum, then the book that you download in your computer, the one that I just showed you, is the same book that your student will get, okay? But you as a tutor, you will get it through downloading the book to your computer. Like, remember that document that is called eSource and you downloaded the book? Okay, that's the one that you are seeing right now that I just shared with you. Your student gets exactly the same book, but your student gets the book through a website that is called Blink Learning. Your student doesn't need to download anything. Your student goes to a website, okay? While for tutor, you have to download the book. And to download the book, you need a computer. You cannot download the book on a tablet. You cannot download the book on a cell phone.
That's fine. No, I was just wondering about so when I'm teaching, they're just seeing what I have on the screen and we're going with that. It's not like they have a separate screen with a different book or anything like that.
Yes, no. What you are showing to your student is what they will see when they are working by themselves. It is exactly the same.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question about sharing screen, sharing the audio?
Yes, I have a question.
Please.
Is it only the moderator or the person who sets up the Zoom call that can share their screen? Or could the student share his or her screen?
Yes, that's possible, but like the person who created the meeting is the person who has the right, okay? So then you want your student to share his or her screen, you have to give your student that right to share the screen.
I see.
Okay,
Thank you.
Is that correct, Raul? You have to allow the other person. So because like right now, all of you guys could share your screen, but I need to allow you to do it. So not everyone can start sharing at any time.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Please.
My student is just finishing up level 3 ventures. So I heard from Ruth that there's no more paper book, that we have to go to the online, but we've been using FaceTime for the last 10 months. I guess, do I have to switch to Zoom to do this? I mean.
So we don't tell you you have to, but no, I don't know about FaceTime. I am a Samsung person, so I have no idea how FaceTime works, but I don't believe FaceTime has the option to share your screen.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no, I haven't tried to download the book and all these things. So
considering you will not have a hard copy of the book, you will not be able to do what we have been doing through the cell phone or computer, and it is just to show the camera, look, can you see this, right? Because you have the hard copy.
So
now, you cannot do that.
The student does the work by typing the answers on the screen. How does this work on the book, with the student's book? How do they?
So having the book, if you download the book to your computer, because that's the only way now you are going to have access to a book.
Right.
You have to download the book. So the way it works is you can teach, okay, so if you don't want to do it through Zoom, you want to keep doing through FaceTime, right? You are looking at another device with the book, and you are talking to your student on the cell phone, teaching the class, and then your student has to have another device with the book open. Okay.
But what about this in the student? How does the student work in her book? Is it, or no, we don't use any paper at all? The answers are all on the screen?
This is why working through Zoom or Google Meet is beneficial, because through these calls, you can use the chat box. And that's what I'm going to talk about now. You can use the chat box, and then you show your student the activity. I mean, in that case, if you are through Zoom, you are sharing the screen, so your student sees the book, and then you ask the student, okay, type the answer in the chat box. Okay?
What happens if we ever go back to the library?
Excuse me?
What happens if we ever go back to having lessons at the library?
You can go back to the library if COVID allows to meet in person again, but you will not have access to hard copy books. We will not use hard copy books any longer.
So you would have to take your computer with you?
That is correct.
That could be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, COVID moved us to all this new life, right? So we had to adjust to it. So since from the moment that we get more like familiar with it and it gets easier and easier, then we know that it can work. And we have seen many tutors already working through Zoom, through Google Meets, through WhatsApp, right? So you guys are making it work. So if you guys make it work, and then what's the point maybe to go back to the way it was when you had to take your car, drive, get in traffic? Maybe it's easier just to stay home. You save that time from your day.
But you can find books to read in the library.
Of course, yes, of course. But I'm talking about the teaching session, yes. So any other question, or I'm going to share with you?
The only thing was that Ruth sent me a video that you made about how to access the books, the email book.
Yeah, so everything.
I couldn't open it, so it said locked. I don't know.
The document, it is a PDF document. So you open you have to have PDF in your computer to be able to open the book.
I have that. It was something Google. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, Yin. So then if you want to send Ruth an email about it, and then you can clarify that, so we can continue talking about Zoom.
Yeah, I don't want to slow you down.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to take, it is 5:45, so we don't want to take much of time.
Yeah. Okay, I won't say anything more.
Okay. No, I didn't mean it that way.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so let me share my screen again, because I want to show you the chat box, which is the other option, like I was saying before. So again, this is your screen in Zoom. You have the toolbar on the bottom, and then you have this option, which is called chat, the chat box. When you click there, you are going to get on the left, on the right side of the screen, you are going to get all this space, which is the chat. And on the bottom, you have the space where you type your message, okay? So then whatever you type there on the bottom is going to show here on top, okay? So that's how the chat box works. So I am sharing my screen with my student, okay? And I have this exercise and I want my student to give me the answer. So what am I going to do? I'm going to tell my student, okay, type the answer in the chat box. So my student types the answer in the chat box and then I can see, okay, I check the spelling and everything. My student is having trouble understanding one word that I said. So I type the word in the chat box so then my student can see the word. And when I pronounce the word again, my student can see the word. Okay, now it is easier for me to pronounce it or to understand what you were saying. So in order to practice this chat box, we would like you to please type your name in the chat box so we can also take attendance from the workshop. So if you could please use the chat box to type your name and last name, please. Okay. Raul, do we take a picture or?
We can take a screenshot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Yes.
I got it. And thankfully, everybody's on the same screen, so it works. I think there's a 24-person limit as far as the whole meeting. Whereas if we get 26 people, then you are spread across two screens, and we'd have to click on the next screen window. We all fit.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, so any questions about the chat box?
I'm sorry, this is Dave Wood. Do you see my name? Because I do not see my name on the, I typed in the name. You see Dave Wood on there?
Uh-oh, no.
Okay, well, I just typed it.
So far I don't.
Well, I typed that for you, so now we see it.
No, but maybe I'm doing something wrong because
so go on the bottom, the toolbar on the bottom, and there is an option that it says chat.
Hey, right, that's what I did.
Okay, and then you click enter when after you type.
Oh, I did not clear enter or.
Yes.
Click wait a minute. Where does it say enter? I'm sorry.
On your keyboard.
Return.
Return, not enter.
The return button.
Yeah.
Okay, I did that.
Just hit return.
David, it's possible that you didn't send it to the everyone option.
I did.
Oh.
Next
chat to everyone.
What does it say next to 2 on your screen?
It says to everyone.
Okay.
And it says Dave Wood. I typed it in and I hit the return button.
Sometimes you have a little caret next to it. You have to click on it to send it instead of send. It doesn't have the word. At least that's what I've got.
Yeah, it's a little blue caret, like a little blue arrow.
Envelope. I don't have a little blue arrow. Why is this not? I typed it in, right? There's the name. Yeah. This has happened to me before, trying to use a chat room. It doesn't go through.
What if
I'm sorry to take up time on this. But
hit return. Just hit return.
We have been.
Yeah, that's weird.
We've been hitting it.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah.
Mine's not up there either.
Who's?
Levon. I'm not up there. I don't see me up there either.
Yeah.
Did you click enter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Excuse me. Here it is. I was going to say, I didn't see his name on the list of attendees.
So maybe, Raul, maybe it could be the option that the room is full and it's not taking more text.
Dave Wood, your name is up there now. I just
there now.
Yes, Dave. We got it. Yes.
Great. I have no idea what the delay was, but anyway, I'm glad it's there.
Why did my name end up over to the right and everyone else's is lined up?
I think mine did the same thing. It's probably just for when you're on your individual one, it does that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Raul, so would you like to continue with the breakout rooms?
Yep.
So we are going to talk about breakout rooms, which is an option in Zoom, but we need to clarify that if you are tutoring a student just one-on-one or even a small group, 2 or 3 students, you are not going to use the breakout room. Why? Because the breakout room is to have a smaller group within the big meeting, okay? So like right now, we could have like breakout rooms, and then we have 20 people, so we could have 5 groups of 4 people, okay? So that is when we have big groups, like for our LC Chats class, all right? Like we have lots of students, so we go into smaller groups, or for our small online groups that we have the instruction, the whole group, and then after a while, we go into smaller groups. If you are tutoring one-on-one, don't worry about the breakout room, but it is a good thing to learn if maybe you have more free time that you want to give to LCMC and you want to support us with small online groups of LC Chats. Now you know how it works, okay?
So of course, when you are a host versus a participant, you see the screen differently. Can everybody see the ribbon on the bottom of my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
This is what you see when you are a Zoom host. So you have your microphone and video, security, and then here's where you can manage participants that come into your meeting. So if I click on participants, I can see that I have 23 people in this meeting. If I click on participants, I will see everybody lined up on the right side of my screen. Can you see the participants tab? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
So you see everybody's name here. So if for example, when we talk about screen sharing, if you're the host, a host can set up a Zoom meeting to the point where the only person that can share their screen is the host. But you can also set up the meeting so that if you want your student to share their screen, you can assign them to be a co-host. So when you do that, you want to go to the person's name on the participants tab. As you can see, Alexandra and I already host and co-host. But let's say I give Anne the hosting ability. I go to Anne's name and I go to the More button. When I click on the More button, I get these options here. And so I want to, oh, wait a minute. I can't do that because I'm not the actual host. I'm a co-host. So the only person who can really assign Anne the ability to be a co-host is Alexandra.
So let me give you the host, so you have everything. Okay, you're now the host.
Okay. So let's say I want to make Alexandra co-host. I go to More. And you can see how I can say, I can make her host again, or I can make her co-host. And so that's what you can do with your student. If you want them to share their screen, you can make them co-host. Or another setting that you can do in the creation of the Zoom meeting account is allow multiple people to share their screen, but only one person at a time. That's also something you can do. As the host, you also have the option of muting all participants in case there's just way too much noise and feedback. I'm going to mute all of you now. The only problem with doing that is, yes, as the host, you can mute everybody, but if you need to speak, I cannot unmute you. You have to be able to unmute yourself so that you can speak again. So you have to be able to, and what happens is a lot of times people are asking, well, how do I unmute myself? Sometimes we forget to, if you let the screen on, if you don't touch the screen, then it kind of goes idle. So if you click on the Zoom window, you'll see the bar show up on the bottom of your screen. And so right now, I'm gonna mute everybody, and then I'll just call on one of you. And then if you unmute your mic, then you'll be able to speak. So I'm gonna do mute all. Now everybody will be muted. And when I do that, it says, do you want to allow participants to unmute themselves? You leave that box checked. And now I'm gonna say mute all. Anne, can you turn on your microphone? Or Alexandra?
So you will go to the bottom of, like, you move your mouse, and then on the bottom you have the toolbar on the left corner, bottom, right on the left. How do you say left bottom corner? Okay. You have mute and stop video. So then the mute, the microphone has like a red line across. So then you will have to click on the microphone, and then you are unmuted. Okay. So, and you are still muted. And Friedman.
On the iPad, the bar is on the top. Just.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay. So any questions about that part?
Okay, I got it. I was pushing another mute button and nothing was happening.
Oh.
Ah.
There's a couple.
And I also add that I was told in another Zoom meeting that if you hold down the space bar, which I'm doing right now, it will unmute you for as long as you're holding the space bar. As soon as you...
That's interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that one. So this is what it is. If you start using Zoom, it is important that, like, this is going to be the first time using Zoom for you, like for your student, that you teach this, okay? Mute and unmute and play for a little bit with that. So then you don't get that feedback, because we have our students, everyone is at home, right? So you have your student, like maybe kids, maybe pet, like the dog, the cat, and then you are going to get all that noise. So then you will ask your student, okay, while I am explaining something to you, please mute your microphone. When you have a question, please unmute your microphone. Okay?
Okay. So the next thing I want to show you is the manage participants part, which is very helpful if you are the host. And I want to nominate a volunteer to go walk through this part. Anybody? Okay, I see Temp's hand. All right. Alexandra, or yeah, since Alexandra is the original host, it doesn't matter if she temporarily leaves and comes back in. But I want, since Temp volunteered, I want him to see this part first. Alexandra, do you mind leaving the meeting and coming back?
Sure, that's fine. So
I'm going to show you that the only way we can make this work is if you see what happens as somebody comes in.
Okay, so let me go now.
We're going to have Alexandra temporarily leave. I'm going to make Temp co-host. And so what happens when you're managing participants is as the host or co-host, when somebody wants to join your meeting, you're going to hear a door chime sound. Did you hear it, Temp?
No, didn't hear it.
No.
So it didn't work for Alexandra because she's the original host. My mistake. Does anybody want to volunteer to temporarily leave and come back in? I see Susan's hand. Okay, so log out of the meeting, but come right back in. Okay, so Susan temporarily left. When she comes back in, if you're the host or co-host, you should hear a little door chime sound, and you will see an alert window at the top of the screen that says somebody wants to join the meeting. You can see it in two ways. You can see it at the front and center of the screen, or you can see it at the top of the participants tab. And so that way, when you're ready to let them in, you would click on the admit button. Does that make sense? Okay, so here she is. Can everybody see Susan's name here?
Right.
So this lets me know the person's name. And if you want to block the person out, you can click remove. But in this point, I want to let her in. So I'm going to click admit. And here's her grid now. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is if you have an even bigger meeting, instead of just clicking one by one, participant by participant, because you've already started the meeting, nothing's going to happen if other than them waiting to get into the meeting. If you've got 15, 20 people trying to come in at the same time, instead of doing admit, 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 as the host, you can click on the button that says admit all. And so everybody will come into your meeting at the same time. Make sense? Okay. Then the other feature that we want to show you is the breakout rooms, which will allow us to take, and this is something that we do with our LC Chats program. We start the conversation group as one big group, but of course, if we're all trying to practice English, it's a lot easier for us to do it in small groups. So what we do is we create breakout rooms. And if you'll notice, it's got the 4 square grid here. You're gonna click on this breakout room, and then you're gonna see this window. And it asks you, how many breakout rooms do you want to create? And do you want to assign them automatically or manually? In most cases, we always recommend that you do it manually. So what happens is, I'm going to create one group. And so based on the number of participants who are in the meeting, you can then, so you see the blue tab here that says assign. I'm going to click assign. And now here's the list of participants that I have. And so I'm just going to randomly select, let's see, Alexandra, and Beth, and Carol. Are you all still here?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna assign you 4 to a breakout room, and I'm gonna give it a time limit of 1 minute, so that they can join us as soon as we're done with this example. So it's gonna be a 1 minute breakout room, and I'm gonna invite them to this breakout room, and Alexandra, and Beth, and Carol, they're all gonna get this window on their screen that says, I'm inviting you to join breakout room 1. And so they're gonna see a button that says join. So they're gonna click on that button, and they're gonna go into a separate room for 1 minute. And what you wanna do to start that process is open all rooms, and you all should see a little window that says, I'm inviting you now.
Do you want us to join the group? Yes? Okay.
Yes. Okay, so as they go into that separate room, you see the timer in the box here? That's letting me know how much time I'm assigning them to be in that room. And then once that clock hits 0, Zoom is going to ask me if I want to keep that breakout room open, or if I want to invite them to come back to this main room. And so we're counting down, kind of like we're counting down for the New Year ball. Almost 10 seconds. There we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and now it says, close breakout room. Time is up for the breakout room. Would you like to close them? And I'm gonna say close now. And so they're all gonna come back to this main room. And within a few seconds, they should start to populate the screen. I'm not sure why they're not coming back. Okay. That took a little bit longer than I thought, but here they all are.
So then when you are in those breakout rooms, you get the mess, you have an option, and it is, and again, I don't know how it looks on an iPad, but you will get an option that it says leave room. So then it gave you two options. It says leave meeting or leave breakout room. So you need to tell your students that it will be, or when you are participating in a meeting like that, you leave the breakout room. If you leave the meeting, you are out of the meeting completely. Okay, so that is something to keep in mind. And it is also like for you guys to know, these breakout rooms work only for a Zoom, like paid Zoom account. Like the free version of Zoom doesn't have the breakout room option. We are showing you this again because we use these breakout rooms for LC chats, and for LC chats, we use LCMC Zoom account. We also use breakout rooms in our small online group session, and for those sessions, we use our LCMC accounts, okay?
Yeah. It would not be something that you can do with your basic standard Zoom account, where even though you can have up to 24 hours of one-on-one Zoom meeting time, you can't really create breakout rooms if you're two people. But if you've got the paid professional account, it does give you more capacity to host more people. And so that's an additional feature that comes with that type of account. And our LC Chats facilitators have to use it regularly because we could have anywhere from 5 to 15 students. And that's where it helps. And Pam can agree. We could have 3 breakout rooms. So 1 main room, 2 breakout rooms, maybe if there's 15 students, 5 in each group, depending on their level. But how does all this sound so far? Good. So and unless there are any other questions about anything, Zoom.
We forgot, and Raul, to mention that also through Zoom, you can share a whiteboard. So if you need something to type, something to draw, something to show to your student, you also have that option. So when you go to the, Raul, can you allow me to share, please?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I got it. So it is here. Oops, let me see. So when you click in this is the slide, but I could go to my main screen. Let me do this better. Let me go back again and share with you. Oh no, you cannot see that, of course. You have to do this. I have to do this one. All right, so when you look at my slide here, and then I clicked share, right? So here is when I said like, what is what I want to share? You have the option, the whiteboard, okay? So when you click the whiteboard, you can share a whiteboard. So now let me go back and share that whiteboard with you so you can see how it works. So this is the whiteboard. So I can draw something, or I can click here where it says text. So I can type something, okay? I can clear all the drawings. So you can use, this is your whiteboard, okay? Instead of sharing the book, you can share the whiteboard with your student. So that is an extra tool that you can use in your tutoring sessions.
What you can also use as a whiteboard is if you've got some of the Microsoft Office products, you can use Microsoft Word, or you can also use a Google Doc, because I believe the whiteboard function is very specific to what device you have.
Oh, yes. And like I always said, like for me, instead of using that whiteboard that I just showed, I prefer to use Google Slides. So of course, at LCMC, we only use Google. So then I open like a Google slide presentation and I use the slide as my whiteboard. And then it is easier for me. Then I share my presentation, my slides with my student, and then my student can also type at the same time that I'm typing. So it is the same document that we are both sharing. And that is also good, useful.
I have a question about screen sharing, and this has to do with an iPad, and you meant iPad Pro. When I click on screen share, and then I share screen, and then I go to screen, I get a pop-up that says screen broadcast, Zoom, start broadcast, microphone, telling me that everything's gonna be recorded. But I can go to my photos on if I allow it permission to go to all my photos, to my iCloud drive where I can go into downloaded files and pull something up. So I'm just curious what I'm supposed to do with this. Or I can go to a website URL. It's a screen broadcast. I don't actually want to record tutoring sessions, but there's no stop recording.
So you can you can set up the Zoom meeting so that it automatically records, or you can manually do it. But at the same time, if your student wants to record for their end, like to review the content, then they would have to verbally ask you if they can record. And then as host, you do have the ability to allow somebody to record.
Right, but if in this case, I don't want to for privacy reasons. So I've got this pop-up screen that lets me, how do I stop that? I mean, it says screen broadcast, start broadcast. Do I have to let Zoom broadcast everything that's on my desktop to get in, to use that function?
I've never heard that before. Are you using an iPad?
Yeah. Looks like, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, sorry, it's not very easy to show that way, but it just, yeah, when I click screen, I get this start recording kind of, start broadcast, screen broadcast.
Yeah, I have the same problem with the iPad, and I don't know how to get around that either. I can't share the screen, it just starts recording, and you can't share your screen unless you're recording, and I don't want to record either. So I haven't figured out how to share my screen either.
Well, as I said, if you go down to iCloud Drive, you can go into different files that are in folders. Okay. But it's kind of, it takes an hour or two to figure out what you can do. And, but if you have a folder of downloaded documents on your desktop, you can go into that folder.
Okay.
And then you can set a subfolder in there for teaching. So you don't go into like your will and your, whatever, tax returns,
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So that's where I am. If anybody has a better suggestion, I'd welcome it. It works. And this is unrelated, but yeah, Alexandra, I did figure out how to download part of my Ventures online book. onto the iPad.
How did you do that? It is like you downloaded the PDF version?
I didn't try to download the whole book because it would take so much memory and we're well through it. So I downloaded exercises and tests and just parts of it.
But the way you, like what you downloaded, it is a PDF or it is actually like the software?
They're PDFs.
Okay, yes.
I do have a classroom. I do have a classroom set up in the teaching area of Ventures.
Yeah, so that is the LMS. Yes. Yeah, so when I refer you need a computer, it is the software like to get, remember when I shared before, like my desktop and the icon, that blue square, that is the software that you download, but it can only be downloaded in a computer.
Yeah, I've been downloading the PDFs and then I can share them.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Yes, of course. Yeah.
It works. It's not better to have the whole book, but this works.
Yes.
And it's not.
That's what we need to happen, that something that works. Another way that it works for us, okay, the way that it works for you. That's why if you are teaching your students through WhatsApp and it's working for you, that's fine with us, okay? We are not saying you only can use a Zoom. No. If you have used FaceTime, WhatsApp, Skype, Google Meet, Zoom, beautiful. Like we appreciate that you are taking the time to learn these new things that we all were pushed to do it. Okay, we did not select like, okay, let's make all these changes to give our volunteer tutors more trouble. No, we all had to do it, right? So, but as we move into that and we find ways maybe to make that process easier for you and to explain other tools, other ways to do it, we want to share that with you, okay?
Thank you.
Please, Peggy.
Oh, thank you. I just
okay, no, you're very welcome. If I know that it is like 18 after 6, but we know that like everything that we told to you guys today, it is not like you can remember everything like all the time. So this is why we are recording this video. And then this video is going to live in Schoology. We also know that not all of you use Schoology, which is something that we push all the time because we cannot be replying to the emails from all of the volunteers that we have having the very similar questions when that information is in Schoology. So if you allow me 5 minutes, I'm going to show you right now how you are going to access Schoology and where all these videos are, okay? We created also a folder that it has links with videos on how to use Zoom and in Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, and French. So if you have your student, share that link with your student, okay? Ask them to watch that video. And after that, your student is going to be a little bit more familiar with Zoom. And then you can use Zoom because as you saw, it's very useful, okay? As you get used to using it, it's going to become easier and easier, okay? So let me share my screen and I will show you this real fast. So then this is a website from Schoology, www.schoology.com, okay? When you are here, you are going to click where it says login. Now you are in the login and the login information is exactly the same for all of you. The username is tutor, lower cases. And the password is Literacy Council, lower cases, no space. So Literacy, Council. And here where it says school or postal code, you are going to type Literacy Council of Montgomery County, but the option will show. So here it is, Literacy Council of Montgomery County. I click there and then I click login. Now you are in Schoology. This is LCMC Schoology. Here on top, you have 3 different options. Courses, groups, and resources. Please click where it says groups. Now that you are in groups, you have 4 different options. ESL and BL is a group that you want to go. If you are an LC chat facilitator and you want to refresh all that information that you got when you started being an LC chat facilitator, the information is here, okay? But let me go first and show what all of you guys need to know. So you click here where it says ESL and BL, and on the left side of the screen, you have this option that it says resources. Click in resources. Now you have 4 different folders. In this folder that we just created is the Zoom folder. You have all of this information about Zoom. So this video, the one from this meeting, is going to be here under this Zoom folder, okay? In this Zoom folder, you will have the link, like a YouTube video, and it will be this recording. So here, like I said, you have links how to join a Zoom meeting. This is in English, so you guys can watch that video. And here we have in Japanese, in French, in Chinese. This is a document, there is not a video. Here we have in Spanish. This is another one in Spanish, another one in English for beginners, and this is another one in English. So you have here all these links with videos on how to use Zoom, and this video from this meeting will be here. When I go back to the resources, here you have Ventures eBooks, give you all the instructions, how to download the book, okay? So for all of you having trouble downloading the book, please come here and read the instructions here. These are the same instructions Ruth shared with you, but they are here, okay? And here we have Tutor Talk Time videos. As you guys know, the second Tuesday every month from 5 to 6 p.m. we have Tutor Talk Time, which is a professional opportunity, professional development opportunity for all of you. If you cannot make it on Tuesday, the second Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m., please come to Schoology and watch the video from that meeting. The last one that we had on January 12th was about pronunciation. So here is the video if you want to watch that, but look at all of the videos that we have, okay? Here we are explaining in this meeting how to download the books, how to use Schoology, how to access extra resources from Ventures, okay? Here we have the video from Lavon, like she offered one of those sessions. So here the video is here. So you have a lot of information here that you are not like using, because you are not familiar with Schoology. So please, please make sure you use this information. So once again, the website is www.schoology.com. The username is tutor. The password is Literacy Council, all lowercase, no spaces. And when it says school, you start typing Literacy Council of, and then it will show you Literacy Council of Montgomery County. And then you will get the option login, and then you select all this, okay? So any questions that you guys have?
I have another question. I use a lot of supplementary materials with my student. Is there, in addition to sharing the textbook, I mean, on screen, is there a way to do, I don't know, photographs, newspaper articles, pages from other books? How do you do that?
Of course. So we always tell our tutors that Ventures, in your case that you are using Ventures, or if you are in a small online group, E2E, which is the name of the curriculum we created at LCMC, those two are the main core of the tutoring sessions, okay? So when you teach that and you know my student needs more exercises, please, please make sure to add extra resources. Ventures, the website Cambridge, the publisher, they have lots of resources that you can use. So you don't have to create them, okay? They are there. In one of those videos that I just showed you the links from in Schoology, you have the information how to access those extra resources.
So okay. I was just thinking, how do you, I mean, I have the resource. I want to know how to get, if we're using Zoom, how can I transmit this to my student? If we're reading an, I don't know, an article from the Washington Post or something like that.
Okay, so you open the, if it is like that, I just share my screen like we just did, and then I go to a website like here, and then I say Washington Post, and then I open Washington Post, and my student can see Washington Post.
I see. What
so
about
if I don't want, if I don't want the whole thing, so then what I can do, yeah, I need a subscription.
No.
But I can use, look, remember that I told you about a tool that is called spinning tool that I set for like you can see here for screenshots. So then I do this and I copy this, and now I have this picture. And then in my presentation, the Google Slides, and I know that I'm doing this fast because for me this is what I do every day while I'm creating curriculum. So for me this is just basic to say in some way, but I'm showing you that it is possible. So I create the Google slide, and then I paste the picture here, so I can. So this is not, it doesn't happen like, okay, like while I'm in class. So you prepare, oh, I found this article, like you subscribe to the Washington Post. Oh, I like this article. So you do it like I just did. You take a screenshot and then took that picture into the slide, and then you share that with your student the way I'm sharing that with you.
What about other things like, I don't know, a photograph? Or
I want to. So I recommend this website. It's called FreePic. So then you open that website. Oh, I want to share with my student like fast food. Okay, so that website FreePic. So
thanks. What about if I have a hard copy of something like a book and I want?
If it is a hard copy, you need to take a picture of it and then send that picture to your email, and then from your email get that file, the attachment, and do all this.
That's what I need to know.
Yep. So that's a lot, but here you have, look, this picture. So I need this picture. So I, again, like the snipping tool, I cut and paste, go here and put it here. And then I'm ready to present to my student the fast food. Okay. It takes time, it takes practice. We are not asking you to do this immediately, but we want you to know that there are different options. And this is a way that you can play and you can find that you are more creative than one that you have thought, right? Or you have ever had to be. So there are ways to do it, like to make it fun. So you don't have to be like only with the book all the time, but please keep in mind that the curricula that we give you to use with your student is the main core of your teaching, your tutoring sessions.
Definitely.
Okay.
Alexandra, I'd like to say something with, if you want to show something to your student, I think you'd be able to just bring it up on your browser, then go to screen share, and it should show you that screen, and then you can click on that screen and share it.
Correct. The way I just did with the Washington Post. So then if you want to add YouTube videos, so open a YouTube website, the page, and then select the video that you want to play to your student. You share your screen. Make sure that you also share the sound from your computer, play the video, and it is an extra resource to add into your class.
So you may not have to do the snipping step.
No, yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to. Yes, you don't have to. It is like, for me, it is like you don't have to do the Google in part at that very moment when you are teaching. You just have it all prepared, but you don't have to. So we have taken too much of your time. We apologize about it, but we just wanted to give you as many resources as we can.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much to learn.
Please use Schoology, please.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
What are the next steps in terms of like moving forward and finding a student?
So you have to receive you will receive. So when did you attend and have you already tutored a student or this?
Yes, I've tutored in the past. I was tutoring in 2018. I reached out when the pandemic started. They said they weren't doing anything.